For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We're going to be running the fast break, hitting a little bit of everything, because we saw that wild finals game number 1 with the Indiana Pacers coming back from down 15 in the fourth quarter, finding a way to get the job done. As a matter of fact, our very own Matt Humans, who was on for much of that game, and then I took it home with regards to the live coverage of that. He was just saying that he saw the Thunder at one point when they were up 15 in that fourth quarter, minus 2,500 on the money line, and they did not get the job done, and they will look to in game number 2, but I'm just taking a look at this number right now with the total at a 227.5, 228, and the OKC Thunder right now 11 to 11.5 point favorites, and I've been live betting the entirety of the postseason. I just can't turn down getting 11.5 points with the Indiana Pacers. Like, maybe I'd be able to get a little bit of a better number in game, but this just feels wild, and this just feels a little bit too stark for a game of this magnitude. And with the way that the Pacers have been playing all postseason long, like, I feel like everyone wants to doubt the Indiana Pacers, but here's a big thing with the Pacers that I think a lot of people aren't taking into account. The coach, in Rick Carlisle, a guy that's been here, done that, was able to help the Dallas Mavericks be able to pull off an improbable finals win when they were going against the Miami Heat in season number 1 when they had LeBron James and company. So Rick Carlisle is one of the best in the business. I think that he's going to get his team up. He always finds a way to be able to get the most out of his teams as well. And with the way that the Pacers have been operating in terms of just the way that they've been able to run good, clean offense in general, I do think that they're going to be able to hone in after the, shall we say, miscues of game number 1. When you lose a turnover battle 24-6 and you find a way to be able to win that game outright, it's just absolutely wild out there. And for the OKC Thunder, they should be able to shoot a little bit better than 40% from the floor like they did in game number 1. Actually, they were a hair below 40% from the floor. So I see that total of 227.5, 228. I'm going to be looking at the over, and I'm going to be looking at the Pacers there. Now, I don't do a ton of hockey, but I do think that there's just going to be a lot of, shall we say, wear and tear and a lot of, shall we say, residual effects from what we saw in game number 1, that overtime win, which the Edmonton Oilers, they managed to be able to find a way to be able to persevere. I just don't really want the money line here in game number 2 because I do think that this is going to be a very even series. I could easily see this going at the minimum of 6 games. If not, it's going to be going a full 7 games. But right now for the Edmonton Oilers, they're between about a minus 120 to a minus 125 money line favorite. That total of 6.5, though, is one that I do want to the under. Now, you always run the risk of having empty net goals, and the Oilers were able to get so many shots on goal against Sergei Bobrovsky. But even though the Oilers were able to get 4 goals, Bobrovsky, I felt like, still played a relatively good game. And Stuart Skinner, I've been doubting this guy all postseason long, and I feel like, you're listening out there, I'm probably not the only one that's been doubting Stuart Skinner here in the postseason, but he's come up big every step of the way. He did so in that entirety of the Vegas series. You saw that in pretty much everything other than game number 1 against the Dallas Stars, and I mean, he's been really able to play above, shall we say, what we were expecting out of him. And after that first period, we saw things really tighten up in terms of the scoring as well. So I look at that 6.5, and I do like the under there. Now let's get you guys some baseball plays, as all of our best bets there are brought to you by G-Bank. And G-Bank, they're running the trifecta for you right now because it's a G-Bank first bet and VSiN trifecta, and it's worth up to $500. All you need to do is open up a G-Bank Visa signature card, and in the first 90 days, deposit and play through at least $1,000 over at first bet to trigger the $500 trifecta. You'll receive a $200 cashback reward on your Visa signature card from G-Bank. First bet will give you a $100 deposit match, and then VSiN completes this trifecta with a VSiN Pro subscription that runs all the way through October 31st. That's a $200 value, so that gives you a $500 trifecta from GBank, First Bank, and VSiN. Head on over to vsin.com/GBank. That is VSIN.com/GBank. This is a one-time promotion that is limited to customers opening up a new account in response to this offer and will not apply to requests to converting existing accounts. Apply today, and terms and conditions, they do apply. this is one game that I've yet to hit that I do need to hit, as this is one that I put into my VSiN write-ups, which are currently up on VSiN.com. We've got an article up every single day. No days off, as our good friend Bill Belichick would always like to say, as we've got ourselves the Walker Texas Rangers going against the Washington Nationals, with it being Mike Soroka for the Nats. Patrick Corbin is on the bump for the Rangers, and who would have thought the Washington Nationals, who were an underdog so often when Patrick Corbin would pitch the last few seasons, they are now underdogs with Patrick Corbin on the other side for the Texas Rangers. Right now, the Rangers are about a -117 to a -125 favorite. Small plus number here on Washington. I'm seeing them right around about a +105 to a +112, and that total is 9.5. And I do like the under in this spot, mainly because the Texas Rangers are supplying no offense whatsoever. 3.1 runs per game away from home, and you just take a look at the names on paper, and you would think that this offense would be able to supply something. And I've been a believer for 60-plus games that the Rangers are going to turn around, and maybe they're not going to be what the New York Yankees are or anything like that, but they're going to give you some offense. But you've got Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien, Jake Berger, Jock Peterson when he's been out there, because we haven't seen a lot of Jock Peterson recently because he's been an abject disaster for the Rangers. Like, all these guys are hitting at 225 or lower. All these guys are hitting for 8 home runs or less. Like, you're just not getting your bang for your buck there. And Corey Seager, since he's come off the injury list, has been less than tremendous. Now, also less than tremendous, Mike Sorokin is north of 550 ERA, but fielding independent is about a full point lower. He's been only giving up about 2 walks per 9 innings. Swing and miss stuff has been fine. He's been able to give you about 8 strikeouts per 9 innings, so that's been adequate. Now, for the Texas Rangers, they certainly have the better bullpen as the Nationals. Yeah, that bullpen is not great. You've had Jackson Rutledge start to experience some regression. He had to pitch in the game on Thursday, so that's less than tremendous. Kyle Finnegan's been solid. Kyle Finnegan, along with Cole Henry, these are guys who have been able to give you a sub-3.5 ERA, so shout out to them. But, other than that, it's not so amazing. Meanwhile, for Robert Garcia and company, they've been okay in the Texas Rangers bullpen, but they're going to be coming off of a just heartbreaking loss against the Tampa Bay Rays, where pretty much little league mistakes costed them in that one. And for the Washington Nationals, actually, if you look at the month of May, they were a top 7 team in terms of runs per game. You've been able to have James Wood give you some good wood with 16 home runs. You've had C.J. Abrams do a nice job. He'll supply you with 8 home runs. And even though Nathaniel Lowe, along with someone like a Dylan Cruz, Josh Bell, these guys aren't necessarily doing the world's greatest job of being able to get on base, they all have been able to give you at least 8 home runs this season as well. So you've got some relatively good power in this lineup for the Nationals. I pretty much made this a pick 'em. If I was able to get them at a plus number on the money line, I was willing to take a shot. We are getting that, so I do like the Nats on the money line, and I'm going to be willing to take a shot on that total over as well. This is another one that I think is very intriguing, with a total of 9 between the Seattle Mariners and the LA Angels. The professor, Kyle Hendricks, is looking to not get schooled, and Bryce Miller's on the bump for Seattle. Right now, Seattle, very sizable favorites, between -145 to a -155. You're going to be finding that number on the Halos right around about a +135 or so, and that total is 9, and I'm going to be willing to take a shot on the over. So I set my total more around a 9.3, and with regards to the Angels, being able to get them at a +135 or greater, I'm going to be willing to fire in on the money line for Bryce Miller. Throughout his career, always very demonstrative home and road splits. A 3 ERA for his career at home, 4.66 on the road. Start number 2 coming off the injured list. Hasn't been good all season, north of a 5 ERA. For Bryce Miller, always a pretty solid pitcher with regards to command. And for the Seattle Mariners, they certainly have the better bullpen, because for the LA Angels, they continue to be a bottom 4 team in terms of bullpen ERA. Looked like they found something in Robert Stevenson. He lands on the injured list, and now you're looking at some eclectic guys that have been traveled very, very well all throughout their career, like Hunter Strickland, to be able to hold it down in the bullpen. But what you've got for the Angels is a top 4 team in the big leagues in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis. Getting back Mike Trout, the fact that he's been able to give you a double-figure amount of bombs has been big. Taylor Ward hitting for no on-base percentage whatsoever, but it's giving you 16-plus home runs this season. Logan O'Hoppe has been able to hit the deep ball. And for the Seattle Mariners, this is a top 12 team in terms of runs per game away from home. Big dumper Cal Raleigh has been dumping in there a bunch of bombs, 23 home runs, so I absolutely love that. I do like the sign over, and I'm going to be willing to take the Halos on the money line. And again, if you, like me, had the Atlanta Braves on the money line on Thursday, you have every right to be salty, and I am going to be fading them here on Friday. Hayden Birdsong on the bump for the Giants, being able to get a +115 on the money line with them. Sign me up there. Even though Spencer Schwallenbach has been rock solid, you now have a Braves bullpen that is going to be relying upon, gasp, Craig Kimbrell to be able to give you innings. Not a place where you want to be, to say the least.